Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The DiamondKShow.com, onfiretelevision.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a real debacle. It has been. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson. This focus on child porn cases and all kinds of foolishness during her confirmation hearings. The Republicans, they want revenge. They're so mad about Kavanaugh, critical race theory, and they are losing focus for why we're really here. Now, I don't want to let the Democrats off the hook because the Democrats do the same type of thing, not the same exact way, but they do the same type of thing. The votes are there, right? The votes are there. But today, during today's hearing, and I mean the other days, there was this focus on child porn, the cases, how she ruled and sentenced. Republicans focused on this significantly over the last few days. Josh Hawley, and he's one of the senators. Of course, Ted Cruz. Of course, Lindsey Graham, and there are others. But they have raised the cases, pressed Jackson multiple times on if she regretted a 3-month sentence that she gave in one of her cases, saying that he viewed it as a slap on the wrist. Of course, we're talking about a case that she ruled on, and there's just been this hyper focus on it. She's soft on porn offenders, all right, and it has been something 22 hours worth of questioning that she has endured for this lifetime appointment. This is a job that is, for the most part, for the rest of her life, unless she chooses to retire. I guess she could do that, but unless she does that, this is a lifetime appointment, right? So it is and it's a serious job. This is not a BS job. This is something serious. This is a Supreme Court. So she has finished her days of questioning. 22 hours being grilled by the Senate Judiciary Committee. And the questioning was contentious. And I think we expected it. We expected that Republicans were going to grandstand. We expected that Republicans were going to show off and double down. And Lindsey Graham, his man crush, Kavanaugh. Oh, he's so mad. He's so mad about what happened to his man crush. I say man crush. I mean, he's a that's what he likes, right? But the contentious questioning from Republicans on Tuesday, on today, some of these committee members were even more aggressive today than they were yesterday, repeatedly interrupting her, not letting her talk. What did they have on her? Nothing. Graham repeatedly dismissed her attempts to answer questions and argued with Democrats about whether they were being fair, which they were not. They wanted revenge for Kavanaugh, right? At least Lindsey Graham did. Ted Cruz is a whole different type of slimy worm. But to see what this highly qualified, remarkable woman had to face is a shame. on those who try to declare themselves as senators. These are the words that Pat Leahy of Vermont said after the hearing. She held herself to a high standard. She handled this whole just debacle with grace, with class. The questioning, the contentious nature, these people talking down to her, she handled all of that with class. The Judiciary Committee is going to vote on Jackson's nomination on April the 4th. Democrats hope to confirm her before their mid-April recess. We'll see if that happens. Day 3 of this hearing today. Republicans took their very aggressive tactics to another level, even for them. Even for them. And I said on the show yesterday that they want to reach out to black voters. But they always show their true colors. They always show their true colors. So several Republicans on this committee escalated their tone, escalated their hostility with which they approached Judge Jackson. Oh, they wouldn't have tolerated Kavanaugh being talked to like that. Oh, how dare you talk to Kavanaugh? He likes beer. Right? But disrespecting this judge, that's just pretty much what all the Republicans did for the most part, mostly all of them. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, as he repeatedly talked over her, repeatedly trying to explain an immigration policy ruling that had later been overturned, accused her of judicial activism. Oh, she's progressive. How dare she? He badgered her for her thoughts on what Justice Brett Kavanaugh had faced in his 2018 confirmation proceedings. You know, his crush, he couldn't have his crush. He had to bring it up, right? He had to bring it up. He was mad. You mad, dog? But he was rude. He was juvenile. Sometimes you could see the way he was folding his arms. He's just an immature brat, right? Just a brat. She attempted to explain her views on why the sentencing guidelines in certain child porn cases were outdated. She just enforces the laws that are on the books. She doesn't make the laws. And Ted Cruz, nobody likes Ted Cruz, right? If Ted Cruz had come at Trump with the same type of energy that he came at Judge Jackson, a female, remember Trump disrespected his entire family? He says nothing. But you got all this energy on your chest, Ted Cruz, for Ketanji Brown Jackson, a woman. He wouldn't even let her respond, just talking over her. No, I'm not going to let her respond. She's not going to answer. Cruz is a gutless individual. Gutless. Cruz continued to talk over her. But he is so subservient to Donald Trump, doesn't matter what Trump says. He bends over and takes it. Sort of like Graham with Kavanaugh, right? Allegedly. Jackson, she pushed back. She pushed back sharply. Josh Hawley from Missouri trying to antagonize Judge Jackson. He demanded that she say whether she regretted the 3-month sentence she had handed down in a child porn case where prosecutors were seeking 2 years. Senator, what I regret is that in a hearing about my qualifications to be a justice on the Supreme Court, we spent a lot of time focusing on this small subset of my sentences, Judge Jackson said. Oh, they weren't ready for her. Now, to their dismay, they're just showing off, right? Holly wants to look good with the QAnon crowd, with the people that ran into the Capitol. He wants to look good for them. He's the one that raised his hands to them when he was walking in the Capitol. All right. Ted Cruz probably wants to run for something in 2024. Okay, whatever. Graham he's Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham also, Saturday Night Live normally has a woman play Lindsey Graham. I mean, that's how he acts. Some Republicans are warning that Jackson's performance at the hearings didn't win her any GOP votes. That likely won't knock her off the path to the Supreme Court, though. And I want them to remember the world is round. This may not be the last nomination that Joe Biden gets. Might not be the last one. Your patience, dignity, and grace in the face of what was, frankly, so offensive treatment is a real testament to your judicial temperament, Durbin told Jackson at the end of the hearing. And he was right. She paused. She thought about stuff. She answered, more than qualified for this position. Jackson may not have even the 3 Republican votes that supported her in the D.C. Appellate Court confirmation last year. Graham voted for her last year. Oh, but that was different. So last year he voted for her. The other 2, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, are not on the Judiciary Committee and have not weighed in about her performance or where they may vote, nor has Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. But he has signaled some openness to her as well. So there were emotional moments. This was an emotional thing. This is the first Black woman nominated for the Supreme Court. It's a big deal. She teared up, Judge Jackson did, as Cory Booker, Democrat of New Jersey, emotionally addressed the significance of the moment, the significance of her confirmation, and told her she should be proud of how she handled the insults here. Cory Booker did his thing today. Much respect to him. Nobody's going to steal the joy of that woman in the street or the calls that I'm getting or the texts. Nobody's going to steal that joy, Booker told Jackson. Powerful moment. You earned this spot, he said. You are worthy. You are a great American. This is the kind of passion that Booker needs to have all the time. Jackson choked up again as she answered questions from Senator Padilla about what she would tell young people. Another powerful moment. The California Democrat had recounted how he had been discouraged in high school from applying to MIT. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to young people. I appreciate it very much. I do it a lot, she said. I hope to inspire people to try to follow this path because I love this country, because I love the law, because I think it is important that we all invest in our future. And the young people are our future. And so I want them to know that they can do and be anything. It wasn't all bad. As you can see, these are great moments here as well. She told the committee how a high school debate team visit to Harvard had led her to study there and her rough experience once she had arrived. She talked about being homesick at school. She talked about questioning whether she could actually make it in the environment. She said that she was walking through the yard one evening and a black woman that she did not know passed her on the sidewalk. And she looked at me, and I guess she knew how I was feeling. And she leaned over as we crossed and she said, persevere. Persevere. That was her advice. That's what she would say to young people. Judge Jackson said that. So it was a very, very emotional end to a 2-day, 22-hour ordeal. This confirmation process, not over with yet. Not over with yet. So there was a lot. There was a lot going on. The Supreme Court needs to do its job. It needs to issue signed opinions, not the shadow docket. Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut said, and there were a lot of things, Democrats airing some of their gripes with the Supreme Court and the way that things are done. There was a lot of grandstanding, revenge politics. Revenge politics. So the vote on track, yes. And what comes next as the hearing continues? Well, the hearing on Wednesday concluded, and what ended were the proceedings where Jackson will be in the hot seat. That part is behind us. After a committee meeting next Monday, where Republicans will be allowed to hold her vote over for a week, the committee is slated to vote on her nomination April the 4th. But first, the committee is going to hold several slates of outside witnesses to speak on her nomination. So I think that that the circus is going to continue. The circus is going to continue. Next to testify will be Democratic Rep. Joyce Beatty of Ohio, University of Virginia Law School Dean Risa Goluboff, and Wade Henderson, the president and CEO of the Leadership the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Joining those witnesses on the second panel is attorney Richard Rosenthal, a childhood friend of Jackson's, and Captain Frederick Thomas, the national president of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. So the final panel will be the witnesses put forth by the committee's Republicans: Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, Jennifer Mascott, Assistant Professor of Law and Co-Executive Director of the C. Boyden Gray Center for the Study of Administrative State at George Mason University, the Antonin Scalia Law School. Eleanor McCullen, the plaintiff in a case against a Massachusetts law on buffer zones around abortion clinics. The First Liberty Institute's Keisha Russell and Alexandra Serrano of the anti-trafficking organization Operation Underground Railroad. You can see where that is going to go. That is going to be tomorrow to round things off. But back to Cory Booker. During his 20-minute allotted time to question Judge Jackson on this final day of the Q&A portion of this hearing, Booker chose instead to praise Jackson. Chose to praise her. That's probably that's what Graham did to Kavanaugh. So there's a lot that Republicans do that Democrats do, but sometimes Republicans take it way further than it should be done. Way further than it should be done. It was emotional for the judge. She eventually had to grab for tissue and proceeded to wipe tears from her eyes. Senator Booker was also brought to tears during the exchange. It was very powerful. Very, very powerful. Booker slammed his Republican colleagues and their treatment of Judge Jackson. Aside from that, I mean, there weren't a lot of people standing up for her. But I mean, this is her hearing, right? But she's a Democratic nominee. So therefore, it is up to the Democrats to defend her. The Republicans defended Coney Barrett and defended Kavanaugh, right? Senator Booker shared a story about when he was first elected to the Senate and being the only sitting Black senator in the upper chamber. A Black man who worked in the Capitol building, he said, approached the senator and said to him, "I'm so happy you're here." He comes up and he can't get the words out. And this man, my elder, starts crying. And I just hugged him. And he just kept telling me, "It's so good to see you here." Booker recalled. It's these are the kind of stories that he needs to tell. The authenticity of that moment, I think, is going to be a turning point for Cory Booker. So he spoke directly to the judge and he continued, "I want to tell you, when I look at you, this is why I get so emotional. And I'm sorry, you're a person that is so much more than your race and gender. But for me, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to not look at you and see my mom. I see my ancestors." That was powerful. That was powerful. And we talked about him referring to nobody's going to steal the joy of the woman in the street or the calls. You earned the spot. I mean, it was just a great moment. Great moment. And amid all of the chaos and the harsh criticism from Republicans, she faced those insults. Her daughter was sitting, right behind her, and the love that she had, you could see it. It was really, really good to see. She is so very qualified for this position, but Republicans don't care about that. They don't care about qualifications. Everything to the Republicans is politicized. Everything is politicized. And, the back and forths, um, Republicans have characterized Jackson as soft on crime. It was highlighted, obviously, that the police support Judge Jackson. Her brother's a police officer. She has other family members. She is a judge. She is very much supported by law enforcement. I don't think that she is soft on crime at all. But there has been pushback from the Democrats, who have accused of trying to use the hearings as campaign fodder for both 2024, when they're going to try to win back control of Congress, and 2024, 2022 and 2024, which they want to use against Biden. That is true. They were just trying to give a whole bunch of talking points. Graham, who really ramped up the tensions early today, told Jackson that he thought she was doing it wrong regarding her decisions on child porn cases. There wasn't a lot of talk of her other cases. All that Graham was focused on was child porn. And she sentenced these people. You know what I mean? She sentenced these people. Democrats fumed over Graham's handling of Jackson. Right? No surprise there. No surprise there. Republicans are pushing for the committee to get copies of the pre-sentencing reports related to Jackson's cases related to child porn, with 10 GOP senators sending a letter to Durbin today. Oh, they tried it. But that was not allowed, given the sensitive nature of the reports. GOP senators also told Durbin during the hearing that they would be willing to view them in a redacted nature or in a classified setting, but argued that the information was needed to understand Jackson's sentencing. Oh, they tried it. But this black woman, this very qualified, highly intelligent attorney, judge, held her ground. The Republicans exhausted the topic. The GOP request, according to Durbin, was dangerous to the victims and unnecessary at this point, he said. And he had that right. He was right. They were trying everything because they wanted to perform. They wanted to grandstand. But she is worthy. And hopefully she will be confirmed. Because she deserves to be confirmed. We knew that this was coming. When it was announced, Republicans showed their hand, not so much with the child porn stuff, but with the attacks of a black woman being nominated for this position. We saw where things were headed. And so I was expecting a circus. I was not expecting the depths to which the GOP sank, but I shouldn't be surprised. I should not be surprised. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show. Of course, on firetelevision.com. Anywhere you get your podcasts, just search The Diamond K Show. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, of course, iHeartRadio, YouTube.com/DJ Diamond K, the WRF Radio app. You can always catch up on the shows, thediamondkshow.com as well. Of course, the Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is a community based wellness space driven by local business partnerships and provides health conscious food and products. They are located at 1301 North Broadway in Baltimore, Maryland. The Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have plant based food, cold pressed juice, wellness products like sage, crystals, organic loose herbs, and more. They have apparel. There's plenty of educational resources. And if you need a space to meet or to work, they do have Wi Fi available. This is the spot to go to. It's the Legendary Lifestyle Cafe. Delivery is available. As I said, they're located in Baltimore, Maryland. Tap in on all social media at Legendary Lifestyle Cafe or visit legendarylifestylecafe.com. Of course, I will be back here. If you miss any episodes, always go to onfiretelevision.com.